Welcome to the Empower Her podcast. I'm Deanna, an ex-corporate manager turned certified coach, empowering you to create the life of your dreams. My goal is to guide you and support you in understanding what you really want in life, what steps to take to get there, and learn to actually enjoy the ride. Whether you are climbing the corporate ladder, a stay-at-home parent, or an entrepreneur, I coach you on how to believe you are worthy of a balanced, happy, and energetically positive life in work and at home. My goal in this podcast is to help you recognize patterns, implement change, and use your energy for positivity within yourself and your own life. I believe you don't have to suffer in this lifetime. You can create a life on your terms based on what you want, regardless of what that looks like. It is about reframing your beliefs, letting go of negative thoughts, and looking at your life as a set of opportunities there for you. I'm so excited to get started. Hello, and welcome back to the Empower Her podcast. Hi, everyone. This is a special episode I did not have planned for this week. I was going to do another episode, but we're pushing that out to next week because after the election results last week, I felt like I needed to have an episode specifically dedicated to this topic. And, I am not someone that has ever talked about politics on my platform in any way, shape, or form. Although, if you see what I talk about and the fact that I support women and helping people and lifting each other up, I think it would have been obvious what my politics are. But I want to be clear that even though I wasn't loud about my politics on my coaching platform, I am very much loud about it in my real life and with the way that I vote and how I support the people around me. So I just want to be clear on that. But I felt after this election and this really intense result, this intense situation, since the fact that I work mostly with women, I really work to empower women, I cannot, in good conscience, not talk about the impact that this has on us. And I really want to offer support and resources during this time. I don't really think that I'm going to start talking about policies just because I'm not a political commentator and I have my thoughts and opinions and I'm always happy to discuss them with people in my life. But I want to participate in a way that I know best, and I want to help others in the way I know best, and that is with bringing action items, with showing what we can do in this time, offering resources, showing up for my community, and really talking about what this means for us in a spiritual as well as tactical way. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I will be thinking about how I can revamp my content to really focus on this. Although, again, this has always been my content. I've always been about uplifting women and specifically neurodivergent women and showing my support and showing how amazing women are and, increasing confidence. Like that's always been the base of me as a coach, me as a human being. So I think that fits, really well anyways, but I will think about how I can add even more support, even more resources, even more tips, action items, so that y'all can feel better, if I can say this, in a pretty devastating situation. And I will say, I was really devastated by the results. I was shocked. I was devastated. I think I spent the whole next day on Wednesday on and off crying in like a deep depression. I didn't understand what was happening. I didn't understand how we could get to this place. And, I'm someone that I don't come from hate. I don't use hate. And so I'm not going to sit here and say I hate people or, whatever. I do think that if you voted for him, that our values do not align, because for me, as someone who supports women, who supports people of color, who supports the LGBTQI plus community, I could never vote for someone who undermines them in every single possible way. And it has nothing to do with Republican or Democrats. I don't care if you're a Republican. I think there's great Republicans. It's about voting for this individual specifically. And I think what's hard for people to understand is why there's such a divide compared to what we've had previously in previous elections. Is before, it was okay if you voted for the Republican candidate. It didn't mean you were a bad person. It didn't mean you had bad intentions. I still don't think that, everyone who voted for him is a bad person. I don't think that. But the difference is we've had, upstanding candidates on both sides. And in this election, I don't think that was the case. I really, truly don't believe that the person who won this election is a good person, is a moral person, shares the values that I do. And whether you believe his morals or values or not, if you voted for him, you're supporting those morals and values. And unfortunately, those do not align with mine, and they don't align with my platform. And I know a lot of you who are listening and who feel the way I do, it can be a very challenging situation to navigate, especially with friends, family members, creators we follow online. And it is your right if you don't want to have those close of relationships anymore, if you want to keep your distance, if you want to unfollow people. That is okay if that means that your mental health is going to stay intact. This is the time for us women to stick together, to support each other, to help each other get through this difficult time. And we really need to stick together. We really need to support each other. We really need to be there for each other. And as a human being, I couldn't let this situation go without addressing it, and let alone as a coach. Again, I coach mostly women, and I know a lot of you are struggling. I've talked to a lot of my clients over the last week, and I know they're struggling, and I know how they're feeling, and it's tough. It's really tough right now, and I just want you to give yourself grace. I want you to know that it's okay if you're down, if you're sad, if you're upset, if you're feeling depressed, because this situation really is that serious. I know there are the comments that are saying we're being dramatic, etc. We're not. And I want to validate that we're not being dramatic. And these situations are life or death. And from a coaching perspective, since I do have a coaching platform, I, do try to see all sides of a situation. That's my job. It's not to judge. And I do try to do that. It doesn't mean I agree with everything, but I do try to see, all the sides. But I do have morals and values that I uphold. And the person that was elected in office does not uphold the same morals and values that I have. Full stop. So, I've just been reflecting a lot recently on, I want to talk about from a spiritual perspective what this could mean. And it's okay if you're not ready to hear this yet. But for those of you who are, I want to talk about from a spiritual perspective because, when COVID happened, for example, I was in a really dark place. I've talked about it. I have an episode on it. In 2020, I was in a really dark place, had just ended a relationship. I was super down, depressed. I was having panic attacks. I was really down. And I remember I kept telling myself, there must be a reason this is happening. There must be a reason this is happening. Obviously, COVID happened collectively, but I was trying to see what was the reason that COVID happened to me personally, why I needed it to happen. And of course, we can't talk about these topics without, talking about privilege. And, I am a privileged individual and I know that. So I'm saying that from that place of being able to reflect on it. But I do think that it helps us to get to a point to reflect on why things happen. And I knew COVID happened for many reasons for me. I had so many amazing things come out of COVID for me. I wouldn't be a coach. I wouldn't have left my full-time job. I wouldn't have gained the confidence. I wouldn't have met my husband. There's so many things that happened because of the COVID situation that was so amazing. So I've been trying to think, since I've really been able to grow since that, now I can see things much more clearly. So I'm thinking, okay, what is this situation here to teach us, right? And I don't know if y'all follow, I follow a lot of astrologers on TikTok and, Chinese spirituality, people that teach about that. And everything points to being in the next generation or the energy of women, right? Pluto and Aquarius, in Chinese number, the 9 year, right? Everything is going back to women, right? Signs of women, women-led, the feminine, the collective, right? So how does this man winning the election showcase that? It feels like we're going backwards, right? Like that's how I'm like, okay, how are we going backwards? But what I've sort of been thinking over the last few days, and even just my own perspective, is I got to a place where I feel a lot of anger, but I also feel this intense desire now to make shit happen. I feel this intense fire inside of me that has almost awoken. And again, I've always been super feminist, super pro-women in my personal life. I mean, you can ask any of my friends. Like, I'm the one who doesn't shy away from these topics with my friends and family. But on social media, just because, I've been a coach, I haven't really touched on these topics. But I feel like this has awakened something inside of me to show that we need to change. And I know that we're tired, especially women of color who have done so much for us and really showed out during this election. They really showed out. And we as white women and men, we need to show out as well. And this is a time for women to have a complete referendum. This is a time for us to rise up beyond what we thought was even capable. This is a time for us to elevate ourselves and our community to a place we've never seen before, okay? And again, if you don't feel this way right now, if you're not at this space yet, that is absolutely fine. You can still listen to this. You can still understand. And when you feel ready, you can get to that place. I feel like I'm at that place where I'm ready to rise and elevate and really make change. And I just feel a sense of empowerment. This has made me feel even more empowered to be a woman, even more empowered to do right by other women. I feel like this happened to me specifically, but I also think collectively to women, because this is the fuel we needed to rise up. Rise up like we never have before. Okay? This is what we need to do. And I really feel like from a spiritual perspective, this is what we are meant to do. And this is what's going to bring all of that energy that the astrologers and spiritual people have been talking about, is this feminine energy, because it's our time. And unfortunately, maybe we needed this to happen. I don't believe that, we should sacrifice people, because I think people will be sacrificed in this situation. I don't think we needed this to happen in order to rise up, but maybe we did. Maybe we needed this. But if we collectively stick together and we broaden our community and we keep fighting and pushing, we are going to win. We will be on top. We will create a world that is 10 times better than we have ever imagined. So if you're tired, if you're feeling down about this right now, it's okay. It's been less than a week since this happened. There's a lot of feelings. I want you to take time to really assess the situation for yourself, do self-care, focus on yourself. And then when you're ready, I will be here and we will be here. But I also wanted to leave you with some tips on really how you can help regulate yourself and try to maybe feel a little bit better in this situation if it's possible. So I want to go through a couple of tips. And again, this is where I'm going to start giving you the practical tips, the action items. This is what I do, right? As a coach, this is what I'm good at. I love talking about action items. I love talking about practical things that you can do. So I also want to keep on giving you those tools and help you understand that there are things you can do. So first thing is nervous system regulation. Y'all know I talk about this all the time. You know I love nervous system regulation. Now more than ever, you need to regulate your nervous system because this situation can bring out a completely dysregulated nervous system. It can cause stress, anxiety, depression, lots of intense feelings. Now more than ever, you need to regulate your nervous system. So things like meditating or orienting or breathing exercises, EFT tapping. There's a lot of really great tools that you can use to help regulate your nervous system. And I recommend doing it 5 times in the morning when you wake up before you've touched your phone and 5 minutes at night before you go to sleep. I really recommend that. Definitely doing the daily work. Again, putting in the daily work to regulate your nervous system. I also recommend turning inward. This is still under the nervous system regulation category. Is really turning inward, focusing on yourself. Use this time to focus on yourself. If you're not ready, you do not need to come back into society, into the collective. It's okay if your energy is not there yet, okay? It's okay. You can take time, focus on self-care, nervous system regulation, focus on yourself. The second thing I would recommend if you're feeling up for this is try to find joy and gratitude around you. Okay, I know this can be hard, but try to find small pockets of joy around you, whether it's the holidays. You know, I was walking around the mall that's right by my house and I saw they had the Christmas trees up and I quickly took a video and sent it to my husband and I was like, oh my God, this makes me so happy. And it was just such like a joyful point in my day. I also had my uncle was in the States visiting my mom and brought me back a Laneige, like the candy cane, like limited edition lip mask. So he brought it over and I was like, oh my God, like this made my day. Like those small things, right? The amazing cup of coffee you had, the sunlight in your house, whatever it is, those small pockets of joy and gratitude, observe it, feel into it, write it down in a journal. I promise you it's going to help you start to feel more regulated and focus on those beautiful things around you. Because at the end of the day, even if things are negative and even if we want to make change, which we should, you still deserve to see the joy around you. You still deserve to feel gratitude. Okay. And number 3 is tap into your community. So now more than ever is we need to be united. We really need to be united. So seek out people in your community that you feel safe around, that you want to spend time with, that you want to talk to, right? Whether it's friends, family, on social media community. You know, there's a lot of amazing creators speaking out about the election and showing their support and, you know, action items and giving tips that we can do. It's, you know, I'm amazed about all the amazing videos I've seen of just women coming together, supporting each other. It's really inspiring. It is incredibly inspiring what I'm seeing online. And again, tap into your communities, whether it's at church or your book club or, you know, family communities that you have or your run club, like whatever it is, try to seek out people again that you feel safe with, that, you know, have similar values and morals as you do, and build that social community, because again, we need this more than ever. And in times like this, a community can really help us get through these difficult times. And then number 4 is, this is more of a spiritual perspective, and it's realize that nothing is ever as good or bad as it seems. I was just listening to this on a podcast. I can't remember which one, but I thought it was so good, so I wanted to reshare. Maybe it was Girls Gotta Eat was talking about it on their election recap podcast, but thinking of it from the perspective, and again, I know it's hard to do this. This is just a mindset shift. You know, Tinks always talks about the shift, the mindset shift, but thinking of like we've done this before, unfortunately. We've had 4 years with him and we made it through. And again, this is not to diminish anyone that was negatively affected, because I wholeheartedly do not think that people need to be sacrificed in order to make a point. But we did this before and we can do it again. And I know, again, it's a hard thing to accept. And I say this from a place of privilege, of course, because I think it's going to affect a lot of people negatively the next 4 years if this continues this way, but we will get through this. And we need to stick together, and we need to be united more than ever, more than ever. At the end of the day, women are the strongest species, and there's a reason for it. And if we stick together and have a coalition together, imagine the magic that we could bring. I mean, it gives me chills just thinking about it. And again, just seeing the community online of everyone talking about this and everyone just being so supportive of each other, you know, it's absolutely incredible. So this is the time to really stick together and realize that, you know, and have that mindset shift that we will get through this. We're going to get through this, and we will help each other, and we will support each other, and we're going to be there for each other. Okay. So these are my thoughts on the election, my spiritual perspective, and then some practical tips that I wanted to share. But really take time for yourself, focus on yourself if that's what you need, right? And really go inward if that's what you're looking for. But when you're ready, I will be here. We will be here, and we are going to get through this. And I just want you to know, in case you're feeling like this isn't the case, you are worth it. We are all worth it. And all is not lost. Your life is worth it. Your well-being is worth it. And I will personally fight to make sure that you know that you're worth it, and that we all get what we want at the end of the day, and really have the type of society and community that we deserve as women, because we really deserve it. And we have each other, and we're here to support each other. And I will be there every step of the way. And there's a lot of us that are also going to be there. We will get through this together. I promise. I'm sending you so much love, so much light. If you ever want to chat, I have my DMs open. I'm also giving free coaching calls to people if they just need someone to talk to. So you can DM me about it as well. If you want to chat, I'm happy to have a coaching call with you and we can talk. But I'm sending you so much love and light during this time. And just know that, you know, I'm here for you. A lot of us are here for you, and we got this. All right, everyone. I'll catch you in the next episode. And if you love this episode, don't forget to follow the podcast and leave a review. And of course, you can follow me at Coach Deanna DeBolt on TikTok and Instagram. I'll catch you next time.